Hey guys, I think I see 15 people here, so we may get started. Um, I'm Lee, I'm from Presonus, and we're doing a takeover of the Bax Facebook. So thank you, Bax, for letting us take over and chat to you guys today. We're going to talk about, I guess, everything setting up your own studio at home. A lot of you guys are, with the current situation, a lot of people are stuck at home, obviously. And it's a great time actually to use it as a creative period to, do things you might not normally have time to do. So it'd be really cool to, hey, Flurch, I'm going to have a go at pronouncing some of the names, so please forgive me if I get it wrong. But hey, Flurch, you guys can hear me okay as well? I'll keep going so you can stop me if there's any problems. There is Paul McCann. Hey, Paul. Yeah, so we're going to talk about everything about setting up a studio at home. And obviously, Presonus, we sell a lot of solutions for recording at home. So what I'll try to do here is, you guys can shoot me some questions, and I will try to show you some solutions that we have, from recording mics, software, monitors, all that kind of thing. So everything, all of the numerous individual things that are involved when recording from home. So there's lots of bits and pieces that you have to put together. And unfortunately, with recording and audio, you're only as good as your weakest link. So you kind of need to learn about each individual step from, microphones to software and things like that, just to have a basic understanding of what you need to do to get the best results. Hey Gert, weather is absolutely brilliant here today. 23 degrees, which is super nice for in Ireland, by the way. I'm in Dublin, so I did consider wearing shorts for this, but I thought you might think that I forgot to wear trousers, so I went with the formal look. But yeah, 23 degrees outside, it's absolutely beautiful. So I think I'll be having a beer after this. Okay, so I think we'll get started. I'm going to talk through the various steps of your setup at home. So I think probably, everyone's going to be using computers. So our equipment generally works with Windows computers and Macs, so that shouldn't be a problem. What you will need for your computer is an audio interface, though. So what an audio interface will do is allow you to plug in your external microphone, say your XLR cable, which you'll see plugged into this mic here, maybe your guitar jacks as well. You don't have any ports built into your computer usually to plug these in, so you need an external sound card or audio interface, we call it. So something like, let me see. So this is one of our most popular interfaces. It's called an audio box. This can sit on your desktop, allows you to plug in, as I said, your instruments, your microphone, and you're ready to record. So this guy has two inputs, so let me show you a little bit closer how this works. You'll also connect the interface via USB. So the audio box is a USB interface, but there are different connection types for different interfaces as well. So you can have USB-C type connection. You can also have Thunderbolt connection. They will offer different performance and bandwidth and things like this. And we do have solutions for each option as well available. So we will talk through some of those options in this session. But again, please jump in, ask some questions, and I'll try to answer them if possible. Let me see who else we got in here. Albert, hey there, how you doing? Yeah, okay, so here's the audio box. This is probably the easiest, most affordable way to get started with your home setup. Audio box 96, so that means it records at a sample rate up to 96 kilohertz. So I mean, that's more than, in terms of sample rate, that's more than you would need to do professional level recording. On the front you've got two inputs, so you can see it's an XLR input is usually what's used for microphone, and in the center of this input you've got a little circle. So this is called a combo jack, which allows you to place your guitar jack into the center of this input as well. So on input 1 and 2, you have an option to plug a mic or a jack cable in there. So it makes life very easy for being able to plug in your acoustic or your electric guitar directly, or a mic or two mics, which way you want to arrange it. You'll also see that you've got two separate knobs for the input gain on your audio interface. So input gain is quite important and can sometimes be confused with volume. I guess some people do make this mistake. The input gain is the amount of let's say signal going in. So it's not actually, it's the amount of signal you're taking from your microphone and putting into the circuit. The preamp that you get with the audio box and all of our interfaces is called a Class A preamp. So that amplifies the tiny signal that you'll get from a microphone or from a direct in electric guitar, for example. A preamp will amplify it into the circuitry. The quality of your preamp will very much determine, I guess, how nice the sound of your signal is. So the preamps on this are Class A preamp, which is a professional standard preamp, and the tonal quality is quite clear and transparent, but still warm, and lots of headroom, so you can kind of push them a little bit. So you've got two separate knobs on the front here, knob 1 and 2, which will allow you to set the input gain separately for these preamps. You've also got a headphone level and a main level. So now if you're working from home, you can use a set of speakers in, you know, maybe a box room or something like this, and also you can have headphones plugged in. If there's people in the house, you don't, to annoy them with your productions or whatever you're working on, you can just work on your headphones and turn down your main. So that turns down the speaker outputs, or vice versa. You can have your mains up and your headphones down. On the back, you'll see you've got MIDI in, out as well. So that allows you to connect to a MIDI keyboard and allow you to record in MIDI, which you can trigger. So MIDI is just when you press the keys on your MIDI keyboard, it records those notes in the computer. It doesn't record any audio. And it allows you to use those MIDI notes to trigger virtual instruments inside. So you could assign those MIDI notes to an organ or string samples or something like this. Please tell me if I'm going a little too fast as well, and make sure everyone's catching up, or stop me if you need to repeat something. Gert asks, is this high end? Yes is the answer. There are other solutions which would have more you could spend 3,000-4,000 euros on one single preamp. You could consider that to be high end, or you could consider that to have a different character or tone. So basically my answer is you should be able to do a professional production with an Audiobox 96, and there's no kind of audio restriction there that would stop you being able to do a fully releasable single, for example. The only restriction is the amount of inputs, so you would not be able to track a full band through the Audiobox 96 because you just don't have enough microphones. But the quality, I think, if you have good material, will serve it well. I hope that answers the question. Hey Tim, Tim just mentions the Audiobox is very portable as well, and a good point is you'll see on the back there is no power input. You can actually power this over USB, so it means that you bring your laptop, maybe you're traveling in hotel rooms and stuff, you can just use the Audiobox with a USB cable direct into your laptop, so it means you just need that with no power and you're up and recording. Okay, so let me see. Then you have some other options. Sorry, the jack input's balanced. Tim, I'll have to double check. I know obviously the XLR inputs are balanced. Let me just double check that one for you. So then you have some options if you want a slightly bigger interface with more inputs. You can also have increased sample rate. So this is the Studio series of interfaces, and these do up to 192 kilohertz recording sample rate. You also get some additional features such as full metering on the front, so you've got lots of LEDs on the front, which will give you a better idea of your input gain when you're coming close to orange and red, which is clipping, which is you sometimes mostly want to avoid. The audio box, the first one I showed you, has a little clip light, so it will start to glow faintly when it becomes close to the clip. Yep, so then you've got the 24C, 26C. They both have two inputs on the front. The 26C has a couple of extra features in that you've got an A/B mode that you can queue up different mixes. So the 26C is kind of a useful interface for DJs if they want to listen into a separate mix, 3 or 4, something like this on their headphones before they select it to play through the speakers. Studio 68 again gives you a couple more inputs. The 1810C will give you 4 mic in and 4 line in, so it's really good interface for producers who want to do some mics and also some synths plugged in for line level. 1824C gives you 8 mic inputs. The 1810 and 1824C actually have a built-in mixer, so you've got universal control software which allows you to have a software mixer built into that interface. So these are some things you can see as you go up in range. You get some extra features for the little bit extra. Let me see. Okay, so then if you want to go right all the way to, you know, I guess the professional type features and professional standard, you've got our Quantum series. Quantum series is on Thunderbolt. So Thunderbolt gives you improved latency. So you've got Quantum, which is on Thunderbolt 2. Our latest interface is Quantum 2626. Do check this out and check out the price. It's very, very new and it's very, very affordable. It's Thunderbolt 3. So we can actually achieve sub 1 millisecond round trip latency with the 2626. And then the Quantum 48 is an option to plug in lots of line inputs from, let's say, an analog vintage mixing console. So you've actually got 32 analog ins, 32 analog outs, plus 16 ADAT I/O on this unit. These units can also be daisy chained together over Thunderbolt. So, you know, you can see how the range starts to grow and how this can become bigger and bigger and suit, you know, from bedroom to professional studio. One thing I forgot to mention just with the audio box, there's a very useful feature on the front here. It's called a mix blend knob, and this will blend the inputs from directly at your interface to directly to the headphone output, avoiding latency. So just to describe what latency is for you guys who might not know, when you plug something into an audio interface, it has to go through the digital converter, so it gets converted to digital, makes a trip to the computer, and then it needs to make its trip back to the interface for you to monitor. Now, this can take some time, and you can get a slight delay, so it sounds like a small echo that you may get. You can adjust your buffer sizes in your computer to try and make up the difference, but this is a way that you can actually monitor directly in the analog circuit of the interface. So you're going to plug straight into the front and your signal goes straight to your headphones, so you know that when you're listening back to what you're playing, it's really what you're doing in time, and you can blend the input of what you're doing in real time with the playback from your DAW, so the music that you're recording to. It's just a really cool way to make sure that you're playing perfectly in time and the feel is right. Okay, so important to mention with our interfaces and our software, they do work really well together. So they are designed to like give you some extra features and to be integrated really well. But you can use all of these interfaces I've showed you with all of the big recording softwares that you use, and you can also use our software with any or most hardware that's available too. So I suppose the message is you can use them anywhere, but if you use them together, you get some extra little integration in places, which is worth looking at. Okay, so that is your audio interface. Next thing is what you're listening to. Oh yeah, I need to mention, which I forgot, we have a competition which the guys at Bax are going to send me an email at the end with some guys who've won. So stay tuned to the end, and it's Studio One for Professional, which is just under €400 to buy, so it's quite a nice prize to win. So stay tuned towards the end, and the guys will let me know who the lucky people are. So, okay, so yeah, monitors and headphones. These are the things that you really need to concentrate on getting right for your space. And understand also the type of monitor that you use so that it's accurate and it doesn't lie to you about what you're recording. So if you use standard hi-fi speakers, they're kind of a little hyped in the bass sometimes, or in different regions, to make them sound kind of really, really nice. So what you need to do is get a really nice set of monitors that don't lie to you, and that when you record your music and you mix it, you can bring it to different environments and it will transfer. So we have a really popular range of monitors called the Eris. And actually I've got one here that I'd like to show you as well, just to show you that they're not so big. So this is called an Eris 4.5, and we also have an Eris 3.5. The Eris 3.5 is actually under €100, 25 watts per side, so really, really loud. And I suppose one of the most important features of these is this composite woven mid-range cone. So I'm not sure if you can see, but there's kind of a weave in there. And what that does is it keeps the rigidity in the cone. Over time, it doesn't kind of loosen, and it will stay very accurate for your bass frequencies. So these are probably one of our most popular products, and people really, really like them when they hear them and hear the results they get from their mixes. So you've got a 3.5 and a 4.5, which are bi-amp, so you've got the amp on one side and you link across. If you want to upgrade a little bit, you've got the option then. You have the option then to move to the Eris full Eris range. So you've got Eris 5, and you'll see some of these say XT beside it. So XT is our latest range updated of the Eris. So what we've done is we've redesigned the waveguide, made the box slightly bigger for kind of larger bass response as well. Changed the porting on the front for better bass response. They've got like 100-degree horizontal spread with the new waveguide design for the high frequency tweeters. So to simplify what I've just said, it just means that when you sit in front of a pair of XT monitors, you can kind of move your chair around your studio left and right, and what you will get is a wider mix sweet spot. So as you move around, you're still in the range of the frequencies that you want to hear. Again, they have the composite woven cone, and you've got different options then for size. So let me see, have you guys got any more questions, because I keep talking too much maybe. Hey Jorn. Okay, Gert, which monitor would you recommend for mixing drums? So this would depend on the size of your room as an element too. So if your room is too small, I would recommend not getting too big of a monitor, because bass frequencies happen over a longer distance, so you will kind of miss a lot of your bass in a smaller room if you've got bigger speakers. So maybe you should get like a Eris 5 XT if you've got a smaller room. If you have a slightly bigger room, it would be nice to use an Eris 8 XT, because you've got a larger bass response that you can check if your environment suits this, and then you can kind of dial into the lower frequencies of the kit. Also, a subwoofer is a nice idea to use as well, very carefully, because again, it can lie to you about how much bass is happening. But we do have a Tembler T10, which has a foot switch, which is really cool. So as you mix, you can actually switch the sub off and you can switch it back on, which is really nice. I hope that helps, Gert. So the Eris 8 XT, which monitor is given the best bass? Jorn asks. So the Eris 8 XT has the bigger low mid-range woofer, so that would give the better bass response. I think it goes down to 35 hertz. So honestly, you could probably get away with not using a subwoofer with the Eris 8 XT, depending on your room. It's nice to have one, but there's a lot of low end there at 35 hertz. Some more questions here. Large attic, Gert says. Okay. Okay, so get some bass traps is the first thing, because again, bass can build up in corners and things, so they're simple solutions. But yeah, you want something that gives you a better bass response. So Eris 8 XT, if it's a large room, with some bass traps is a really good idea, really good solution. Sorry guys, just checking out some here. Okay, we'll keep going. So that's your monitors. We do have some more options for monitors. We have a ribbon style tweeter in the R series monitors, and then we also have PreSonus scepters. So I'm just showing you a quick look at some solutions that would be really inexpensive and really effective. But do check out the PreSonus product page, and you'll see that for every type of product we have, we've got an entry level, mid range, up to a pro level. So do check out the website and the products list, and you'll see that the R series is the next one kind of up, which gives you a kind of ribbon type tweeter response, which is slightly more detailed for the high frequencies. And then we have a scepter monitor, which is a coax design, which is really worth looking at. It's got built-in processing. It's a really high-tech monitor, and it's super detailed. So it's worth checking these guys out. But just to get started in your house, these Eris should be absolutely perfect. Headphones are very important as well. You know, recording, you want some form of accuracy still. You also want isolation from your mic, for example. So with these HD9s, they're a closed back design, and this again is good for, you know, playing your track really loud in your headphones. Using a condenser mic can pick up a lot of signals and sources from around you, so it's good to have closed back headphones to avoid bleed. Maybe you want some bleed, but usually you don't. So these are pretty inexpensive as well, and also check out the Bax website for prices on all of these, because the guys have stock, always have great stock of PreSonus stuff, and really good prices too. And then we have another option called a HD7 as well, which is a really affordable headphone. It's open back, kind of gives you that more natural sound. So you got lots of options in there for headphone monitoring. Headphone amplifiers we do as well. So again, product page for PreSonus. I can't show you everything today because there's so much there, but these are just some important things. So you've got your interface, so you can plug your things in. You've got your monitors, so you can hear accurately what you're doing, and then you need your software. So this is a really important link in the chain, and Studio One is our DAW recording software. Studio One is becoming our top product, really. It's worldwide become very popular. The software is not actually that old in relation to all the other big softwares out there that you would know, so it's like just over 10 years, I think. But because it's a newish software, it gave the opportunity to have a fresh approach towards music production. The workflow as well is really fast and intuitive. So it's kind of we've had the opportunity to refresh how you approach creating a DAW. Just gonna check you guys out here, see what you're saying. 14-year-old, so this is hard for hard. 14-year-old producer would like a good professional music studio. I'd like to win. Okay, that guy's a contender. I'll keep my fingers crossed for you. Hard for hard. Lots of people here want to win. Hard for hard. Recommend a keyboard for producing melodies. In Studio One, there's so many built-in instruments. This would be a really good place to go. There's built-in synthesizers and drum machines in here that you don't need a keyboard that has sounds built in really anymore. I mean, you can do this and it sounds really nice, but you've also got the option to use a MIDI controller keyboard or a MIDI drum pad controller, which we have an option I'm going to show you shortly, and you can trigger lots of sounds that are built in Studio One very easily and not too expensive. So keep watching and we'll delve into Studio One. Okay, I'm going to keep going. So Studio One, yeah, that's our recording software. What's really cool about Studio One is that it comes free bundled. So Studio One Artist comes free bundled with all of our audio interfaces. So this means, for example, the Audio Box 96, when you buy this, you get Studio One Artist bundled. Tim van den Homburg says, what about analog sounding synths? I have lots of them and I really, really love them. So there are benefits to using external synths with sounds included, but the sounds that you can get from the software now, and our guys in Hamburg who designed the software are all synth freaks. They love vintage synths as well, and they've really got some good versions in software in Studio One as well. Okay, lots of people here want to win some software, so keep our fingers crossed, guys. So in Studio One Artist, that's our mid-level version. So we've got Studio One Prime, which is free. Studio One Artist is the mid-level version. I mean, there's fully featured in Studio One Artist that you should be able to create a music production of a very high standard. There's lots of really cool built-in plugins, EQs, compressors, pretty much everything you would need. It is also coming bundled with a Studio Magic bundle, we call it. So what's really nice here is you get lots of cool sounding plugins from other companies like, you know, Lexicon and Arturia. There's lots of vintage synths bundled in there as well. So again, you've lots of sound options built into the software. Yeah, I mean, there's nearly 20 plugins here. Almost $1,000 worth free with Studio One Artist as well. So there's so much in here for the money. It's really, really great value, and will get you up and running in your home studio very fast. You also get Ableton Live Lite in there as well, so that's another DAW free bundled with the interfaces. So what we'll do is I'm just going to give you a quick overview of Studio One, give you an idea how it works and why it's becoming pretty popular. So Studio One, when you open this, you get this start page, and from the start page you can jump in here and you can change your hardware settings. So you may have different audio interfaces connected that you want to use, so you can select your interfaces. Your device block size relates to, you know, your buffer size that I mentioned with latency. So the smaller size you pick, the less latency you will have, but it will put harder work on your processing in your computer. So you can mess about with these settings and you can get them right to suit your computer. So lots of different preferences and settings in here. Also on the right here, when you're connected to the internet and signed in, you will get this live feed. So you get tips and tricks and, you know, lots of different things coming up in the live feed here on the right. And also you have the option to sign into your SoundCloud from within Studio One. So that means you don't have to leave the software while you're working to maybe load a track up to Studio One, or even take one down from somebody you're collaborating with. Maybe it's a rough idea they want to share with you. So create a song, and we have the option to select a preset that will suit your audio box, for example, or whatever interface you're using from Presonus. Or you can just do empty song and select settings for any interface. You can give a name. Let me see. Change your sample rate. Lots of different settings in here that you can mess about with. And hit OK. And now you're into the main page of Studio One. So what's really cool about Studio One is you can jump back to the start page at any time and back to your song. So on the top right hand side, you've got the option of jumping back and forward here. And you've also got the option of having multiple songs open, so I can quickly switch between different songs, which is, you know, it's just an indicator to show that the software runs really lean, because it's actually like 170 megabytes of a download. It's a very, very lean designed new software, meant to run fast. Okay, so you're not seeing Studio One. Okay guys, are we back on Studio One? Just answer a question here. How big is Studio One Professional? Yeah, it's just under 200 megabytes, but there are lots and lots of add-ons that come with Studio One, so you can download lots of gigabytes of information from your My Presonus account. So there'll be add-ons, loops and different things like this. So it can get as big or small as you want. Okay, we're back. Okay, good news. Not sure what happened there, guys. So yeah, just to mention, My Presonus is your hub, your main account. So when you get a piece of software or a piece of hardware, you log into your My Presonus account, you register the hardware or software, and all of the add-ons that come free with Studio One or come with your hardware are in your account. So this means that you are able to download large or smaller amounts of sounds or samples or add-ons that you need. You might not need them all at once, clogging up your computer, so you can just download things you want to use. I'll just quickly go over that little intro of the start page again if you guys missed it that time. Yeah, so start page. We've got start and song page. So top right, we can jump between the two. Very fast to navigate. And in the start page, I've got my hardware settings, so I can set up my interface, buffer size that I mentioned, sample rate and things like this can be done in song setup. So pretty much whatever interface you're using can be done from here, and you're up and ready to go, including your routing and things like this. Once you do that, you're into your create new song, and then you've got your Presonus hardware templates that you can use here, or just an empty song to use with whatever template you want to use. So let me just name this song. And what I'm going to do is just give you a quick overview of Studio One, because there's so many features here, but just to give you an idea of, you know, how this can speed up your workflow in your home studio. So hit OK. Brings me to my song page. So Studio One is designed to be very, very simple and one single window. Everything is drag and drop pretty much as well. So we really want to avoid having lots of confusing windows that are layered on top of each other and hard to follow where you are, you know. So you'll always just see this window, and on your bottom right is a very important tab called Browser. So in the browser, you'll see that opens up my window for all of my instruments, my effects, my loops, files. You can even log into a Presonus shop from here and actually buy some samples and extensions and things and loops and drag them directly into your session, and then your audio pool. So, you know, most of your work and your content will be in here. You can also navigate to locations on your computer from here, even your desktop, to drag in files. And again, drag and drop is the way everything works here, so it's super simple. If I want to open my instruments tab, let me see. Okay, so you'll see I've got my Presonus instruments, and then there's third-party instruments will work that you buy from other companies. So I could open Presonus, pick this midi, just drag it onto the screen, and that's it, done. It opens up my instrument, opens up a track. Also, you'll see on the bottom right I've got a mixer. So if I open my mixer now, you'll see midi is in the mixer. I think you guys are getting that, yep. So let me see. Just check you guys out, see any more questions coming in so far. We're all doing good. Okay, I'll keep going. So that's drag and drop for instruments. Also, if you want to record audio, you've got a, you've got an instrument track and you've got an audio track. So if I just press the letter T on my keyboard, it brings up an add tracks window. So I can put in here maybe Vox or something like this. And then I can select that. And now you'll see it has opened up an audio track. And from here I can select the inputs from my audio interface. So the interface I'm using today has two inputs. You know, if I had a Quantum or something, you could have lots of inputs here that I could select from. And then it's just as simple as hit record. and then record in your transport and your recording. So I mentioned drag and drop, and you can pretty much drag lots of different formats audio direct from your desktop straight into Studio One as well. So if I drag this off my desktop to an audio track, it's like a drum loop, just drags it straight in, so fast and ready to go. Let me just check in, make sure that works. Okay, so that's just a simple beat just dragged in a loop, but this will work with the majority of audio files. So now we're looking at our effects. So we've got a list long of effects here from Presonus that come bundled, and then you've also got the option to buy third-party software. So you could have, you know, I've got some Wave stuff, some Sound Toys stuff there as well. So you have the option to use both. And the nicest part is drag and drop. So if I want to delay, for example, I can choose to just drag it straight onto the track, and it's done. Again, you know, maybe a compressor or something, drag it straight onto the track and it's done. So I don't have to go looking through lists and, you know, trying to find what I'm looking for through lines and lines of different plugins and stuff. Another cool thing we have then is you can actually go and you can highlight an event within your track, which is super cool. So let me see. Sorry guys, I think we might have dropped. Are you guys still hearing me? I seem to have lost some of my software here. You guys still there? Just back. Okay, thanks. I seem to have lost some of my software off the screen here, but we'll keep going. Okay, so yeah, Studio One, drag and drop. I was just showing you guys. Some cool things you can do is jump in and actually highlight some events. And now what I can do is I can go and I can pick an effect and drag it just to that single event. So, you know, if I had a vocal or a drum track or something that I wanted to put separate effects on, let's say there's a vocal and it comes to one word that I want to put lots of delay or reverb or something on it, I can drag it just to that event. Okay, so also you have the option to use send effects. So let me see, if I don't want to drag an effect directly onto a track, I have the option to share lots of tracks to use a master effect. So you'll see here I've got, by dragging this chorus directly into the mixer panel, I now have the option to go and pick a send from any of my other tracks and send that to the chorus. So any of these channels I can go and send to the chorus. So then, you know, mixing is pretty simple. Get your levels right and continue to use your bundled plugins and things to get your dynamics and your EQs right. A really nice plugin that comes bundled is Fat Channel as well. So with Fat Channel, we have the option then to start using some vintage plugins. So you'll recognize some of these really nice EQs and compressors, and you can switch these on, and you can basically have different tones, a different sound shaping for your tracks. So I'm using OBS software here to run this, which allows me to switch between windows, but it seems to have closed for me and will not open, so I'm stuck on the Studio One screen. Yeah, OBS not working. Okay, so I guess I'm going to be stuck on this Studio One screen. What I will do is I'll just continue to talk through the options that you have. Okay, so that's pretty much Studio One. When you have your track recorded, you've got your audio, your MIDI. You'll then go into export your mix down. I might just show you some extra instruments that are in here though that may interest you. Impact is a really, really important instrument in Studio One. Impact is like your drum machine, really. And what you can do is you can select from, you know, these different presets within Impact. So you've got lots and lots of sounds there included. But what's really nice is you can actually go and, you know, from your files or from your desktop or something, wherever you've got your samples, you can drag these onto the pads and they will actually load onto the pads individually. Or you can hold down Command and drag over a folder full of your samples that will lay themselves out across the pad. So Impact is super cool, super useful. And you've got 8 banks, so you can select between the banks on the left here of all your different samples, and you can pick some pretty cool colors. But what's really important about is Impact is it's really, really flexible with your samples. So let's say on bank A, I could select to use any of my pads as a loop or as a one shot or as normal. So, you know, I could have toggle. So this means that I can lay out my samples over one Impact instrument and I can trigger them in different ways. So this is really cool for live performance as well. And you can then again select which way your samples are triggered for these different pads. So it becomes a really good performance tool. You could actually run an entire track from one track in Studio One with one instance of Impact. You could have like lots and lots of samples being triggered in different ways. And again, you'll see there are more instruments here as well. Presence, Mojito is another type of synth. So there should be lots of things in here. Samplers that you can pull up, string samples and stuff like that as well. So yeah, so then you've got your track recorded, your audio and your MIDI, and everything sounds really nice. You can just really simply go in and export your mix down. So this can be a little bit complicated sometimes, but we try to simplify this as much as possible. You've got your file name, so you can call the song whatever you need. You can choose to publish it direct to SoundCloud if you want. So lots of different settings, different file types. Maybe it's MP3 because you just want to do a rough bounce and email it to somebody, so the file type would not be too big. So that's another option. And the regions that you want to export, you can select between the loop, which would be like a loop range that you can select at the top here. So yeah, lots of different ways to export your mix down, and then you just select your location, which could be, you know, your desktop or something, and hit OK. So very simple to export. But also I just want to mention that if you're working with other people and recording a song, which a lot of us are doing at the moment, remotely, so you may be working from home, somebody else is recording a track and you want them to work together, you can export stems. So stems are all of the individual tracks from your DAW, but they will all, after you've exported them as stems, they'll all start and finish in the same place. So it means that if you've got a vocal track that you say, you know, you've got a verse in the very, very center there, if you export just the raw audio file, the next guy's gonna have to locate where that was in your song. But if you export them as stems, it means the start and finish position will be the same for all of the tracks. So stem export, really, really useful for collaboration. Let me just check out you guys for some more questions here as well. So let me see. Yeah, drag and drop. It really, Tim just points out, it focuses on creativity. It does free up your time to spend just actually working, because sometimes you can get bogged down by looking at screens and lists and trying to find things. So yeah, that's a really good point. Yes, there are some bundled loops. Again, if you look in your My Presonus account, you'll see the add-on packs that are included with the software. But yes, there's plenty of loops in there and sound sets and different things to get you going. So Gert asks, how precise is the cut and paste if you need a second take? There's a really, really cool feature in Studio One called takes to layers. So if you want to, I'm just going to open record panel and turn on takes to layers. So what will happen is you will press record on this track, for example, and I could set up a loop, and now I can just continue to record over this one track, and the tracks will start to build up on the one track. Then let me see if I can actually set this up. Hang on a sec. Okay, so let's record. This is take two with some cool reverb. This is take three. Okay, so now you'll, let me just turn that craziness off. So you'll see that set up different takes for me. And now what I can do is I can go and select different parts from those individual takes and start to create a comp, they call it, of all of your takes. And it's very, very fast to do. So now you'll see this top track is a combination of all of these takes, and I can choose to collapse that when I'm finished making my comp. I can expand my layers again, and I can also solo different takes to listen what's going on, or I can promote one of my takes to be the main take at the top. So this is a really, really fast way of making edits on multiple takes. And your question is how accurate you can go. So you can really, really zoom right in there, and you can, you know, really, really make some individual precise changes for your takes. Okay, Gert, I hope that answers the question. So let me see. You can buy samples from the shop, Melvin says. That's correct, yeah. And there are built-in stuff as well. So again, you'll have this in your Studio One. Yes, Melvin asked, can you reverse samples? You can do that very easily by right-clicking, and you can also put samples into one of the samplers and reverse very easily as well. Okay. Yeah, so with Studio One there are lots and lots of features built in, and yeah, some of them are in professional, some of them are only in professional, and some of them are in artists and stuff. So but there's lots in Studio One Artist that you will be able to do a fully featured production. One of the really nice features as well is the amp modeler. So if any of you guys are guitar players, this is a super cool plugin. So this was just updated very recently, and we have this really, really cool way of modeling old pieces of analog equipment. So you'll see this icon which says state space modeled. This means that basically they will take an old amplifier or an old pedal, and the guys in Hamburg will take it apart and they'll measure each component from the piece of gear, and then they will actually build it again in the software domain. So you get this piece of this gear emulation that actually reacts just like the real thing. So in Ampere, it's super nice because you get the option for lots of different amps, some that you'll recognize there. There's also a pedal board, so you've got the option for lots of different pedals that you can insert, and then you've got lots of different cabinets that you can choose between. It's really, really nice. Within Ampere, you've also got a tuner, which is super handy. So when you're going to do your take and you record, sometimes, you know, it's not so handy to plug into a tuner before you check, and then you don't bother, and then you regret it afterwards. So it's really nice to have this tuner to be able to just click it on, check your tuning, and then hit record. What's nice with this is also you could plug directly into your audio box, for example, with an electric guitar and your lead. And then you can apply the effects from the amp afterwards, and you can switch it off, so it doesn't have to stay on it, or you can switch between settings to see maybe this Vox style amp would be really nice, or maybe one of the Marshall style amps would suit what you've recorded. And then the option to blend styles of microphones. So I did have some images to show you through OBS, but it seems to have crashed and not wanting to open again for some reason. But I did want to talk about microphones actually with you guys. If you have any questions, obviously please ask about anything we've spoken about, but you will need microphones for your setup. I think even electronic producers usually end up sticking a vocal in somewhere, so we have some really, really nice options for microphones. We have a PX1, which is the mic that I'm using at the moment that you saw from my intro video. So this is a large diaphragm condenser mic, really nice quality for vocals in particular, really nice for acoustic instruments and guitars and things, but you can use it on overheads for drums and stuff as well. So the price is just above €100, so like 129 or something like this. Again, check the Bax website. And then we have an option for a stereo mic, so just like you'll see in the picture of mic C on screen there, we have a stereo mic option, which is a PM2, so you get two mics, and they're around the same price as well. So yeah, your interface, your monitors, your microphones, and your software, you can pretty much get all of these from our category of products. So I'm just looking on the email here to see who our big winners are. So let me see. Okay, so I'm coming close to the live stream. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Have you guys any more questions as well? I did want to mention that we do sell bundles as well, which is a super, super handy way to get started with one purchase. So we have, like, for example, the Atom Producer Lab, which gives you this drum pad controller, also with a audio interface, headphones, and even a cable for your, a mic and things like this come in the bundles. So you've got an Atom Producer Lab, you've got an i2 Studio bundle, an audio box bundle, and an audio box ultimate bundle, which will come actually with the mic, software, interface, and the speakers. So just check that out on the Bax website as well, because there's lots of bundles that you, for one purchase and not too much money, you can have your full studio up and ready to go. I think below €200 there's some options there to get you going fast. So apologies for my little bit of a crash with my software, but I think live streaming, we're all getting used to how unstable it can be. So but thank you again for everyone for joining. So let's go for the competition. Okay, so through YouTube we've got, and again I'll try to announce this, Michael van der Veer is a winner of Studio One for Professionals. So congratulations, Michael, or Mikhail. Thanks a million for tuning in as well. And then through Facebook we've got Jorn van Beers. So congratulations to Jorn as well. We're running out of time on our stream, so I'm going to jump off now. And thank you so much, guys, for joining and paying so much attention to all of your comments and questions. And I hope to see you again soon on the Bax website. So thank you, guys.